A major signing has been confirmed, but first we have the latest on the broadcast negotiations between Warner and both WWE and AEW. Over the past few weeks, there's been much talk of Warner Bros. Discovery and their future inside the wrestling space, with them reportedly holding talks with WWE to potentially carry Monday Night Raw, a development that would likely lead to the network dropping all Elite Wrestling television from their portfolio. There's now been another moving part brought into place, as Axios has reported that discussions are being had between WBD and Paramount Global regarding a potential merger of the two companies, with them revealing that a recent meeting took place in New York City between WBD CEO David Zaslav and Paramount CEO Bob Bakish. Additionally, Zaslav has met with Shari Redstone, who owns National Amusements Inc., the parent company of Paramount. Warner Bros. Discovery is currently valued at around $29 billion, whilst Paramount Global, facing some financial challenges, is valued at just over $10 billion, whilst carrying significant debt. Regarding the impact that this could have on any ongoing negotiations with wrestling companies, Dave Meltzer would reveal on Wrestling Observer Radio that it's unlikely to affect talks, at least this time around, and he would say, "They're in merger talks, the first stage. I don't anticipate that whatever happens, I don't think that this potential merger is going to affect potential WWE or AEW TV deals because it's going to take time to put that together. WBD will have to make whatever decision they're going to make prior to that, number one, and number two, it appears because WBD is a bigger company than Paramount when it comes to financial value, they'll be the ones making decisions anyway, so there's not going to be new people making the decisions. The story is of course huge, like all these merger stories are, but as far as WWE and if Raw ends up on WBD or does AEW end up on WBD, I don't think this merger will play into that story. With that said, Meltzer would confirm that the possibility of WWE joining the WBD family instead of AEW is very real, and he would add, "It's majorly in play, absolutely in play, yes. Look, you know that in the TV world, having number one has its value over having number two. In terms of cost per viewer, Raw is so much more expensive than AEW. Even if AEW had a big rise, it'd still be cheaper per viewer. Also, the AEW viewer is a 13% higher money earner than a WWE viewer. There's that value too, which is rarely talked about. But in the end, WWE is still number one, and WWE also has the ability, whether on TNT or TBS, to raise the station's average ratings. With AEW, it's a very successful show on Wednesday. It raises the TBS weekly average a little bit, but very little, where Raw would make a much bigger difference as far as raising the average and making the station look better in the rankings of the stations." But what's your gut feeling towards the Warner negotiations in wrestling? Will they keep AEW television, or will they switch to WWE Raw? Let me know in the comments down below. Next up, we have the latest on the future of this major free agent. Mercedes Moné, the former Sasha Banks in WWE, would make a huge debut in New Japan Pro-Wrestling at January's Wrestle Kingdom event, before eventually having a run as IWGP Women's Champion. However, she would later drop the title before entering the tournament to crown the first ever New Japan Strong Women's Champion, which she was originally scheduled to win, before suffering from an injury in the final that led to a change of plans. Moné hasn't been seen inside the squared circle since then, other than in training footage, with many questions lurking as to where her future could lie. At one stage, plans were being put in place for Mercedes to head to All Elite Wrestling, something that was teased by her appearance in the crowd at AEW All in London. But with that said, Fightful Select have now confirmed that these plans are no longer developing, with the two sides being apart when it comes to contract negotiations, and they would write, "At the time in which Mercedes appeared at AEW All In as part of the audience, AEW sources had indicated there were tentative plans for the two sides to work together when she was no longer injured. At the beginning of December, we were told that those plans were no longer active and the two sides were far apart on terms. It was not indicated to us if that pertained to dates, schedule, financial terms, or booking." Whilst the plans for Mercedes' AEW debut are currently on ice, Fightful would make clear that this doesn't mean the door is closed going forward. With that said, the report would confirm that Mercedes is not currently signed to New Japan, although the company do hope to bring her back at some point in the future. Following the recent news that Charlotte Flair has signed a historic WWE contract, with it being one of the highest paid deals for a woman in WWE history, Sean Ross Sapp would reveal later on X that Mercedes has an asking price that is even higher, and he would write, We'd revealed on today's episode of The Hump that word within the industry was that Mercedes Monet's asking price was above what we heard Charlotte got on her new WWE deal. As we know, Mercedes Moné likes money, and it seems like she's looking to make a big bank statement upon her wrestling return, with there reportedly being interest from WWE, AEW, and NJPW to sign her up, which means she could be set to cash in the near future. But where do you think the future holds for Mercedes Moné? Will she return to WWE as Sasha Banks? Will she go back to New Japan Pro-Wrestling to finish some unfinished business? Or will she become all elite? Let me know in the comments down below. Next up, a current AEW talent is suffering from a potential deadly infection. A couple of days ago, we would bring you a story regarding AEW's CJ Perry, who's been hospitalized with an infection in her finger and arm. In a social media post sent out on Monday, the former Lana in WWE would reveal that she'd been in ER and hospital for over 50 hours at that point, noting that she was set to go into surgery. Well, we now have an update on Perry's status, that she would take to Instagram last night to reveal that the infection is potentially deadly, before revealing how she found herself in this situation, and she would say, "I've been in hospital since Saturday fighting a fatal infection that came from getting a small splinter backstage at work this past Wednesday. Please keep me in your prayers, and everyone really take care of any cuts you get. As small as a splinter can turn into a deadly infection. Love all of you guys, and thank you to everyone who's reached out." We've still yet to hear if there's been any progress towards a full recovery, although we do know that CJ is still in hospital as of her last social media post. And next up, WWE's newest signing has been confirmed. In November 2023, WWE held a tryout session where various aspiring talents showcased their skills with the hopes of signing a developmental contract in NXT. Among the participants was Brogan Finlay, the son of former WWE United States champion Fit Finlay, a respected figure in the world of pro wrestling and current coach in the WWE system. According to PW Insider, WWE has now officially signed Brogan to a contract, with him set to head to the Performance Center. At just 21 years old, Brogan Finlay holds 2 years of experience in wrestling, having worked in various independent promotions including Action Wrestling, GCW, Black Label Pro, and Beyond Wrestling. Notably in 2021 and 2022, Brogan had the opportunity to work for New Japan Pro-Wrestling as part of their United States-based Strong brand. But what do you make of WWE's latest 4th generation signing? Let me know in the comments down below. And before we continue, I'm trying to hit 50,000 subscribers by the end of the year, so if you don't mind, double check that you subscribe to the channel below, especially if you're a regular viewer of our news updates, as it would really mean a lot. As it stands, we're just over 3,000 away, so it's going to be a tough task, but I know from the analytics that a lot of people that watch the content haven't yet subbed, but do come back for more, so if you're one of them, I'd really appreciate you helping me out. But with that said, let's move on to the next story. And next, a major signing has been confirmed. In September, WWE would release a whole bunch of talent from their deals, including names from the main roster and NXT, placing several established stars on the free agency market. 90 days has now passed since then, which means that wrestlers that were released from the main roster have now seen out their non-compete periods and are now available to appear elsewhere. Mustafa Ali, Dolph Ziggler, Shelton Benjamin, Emma, Riddick Moss, Dana Brooke, Top Dollar, Alia, Rick Boogs, Mace, Mansoor, Shanky, Elias, and Matt Riddle are all now officially free agents. Regarding the future of Riddle, his next big move has been revealed, as after a poster for the upcoming MLW Kings of Colosseum circulated online featuring his image, Major League Wrestling have now confirmed that the King of Bros has signed with the company. The announcement would include confirmation that Riddle will battle multi-time world champion and top MLW star Jacob Fatu on the January 6th event. In the past, Riddle has worked 5 matches in total for the promotion, mostly in 2018, where he would be part of the MLW World Heavyweight Title Tournament, losing in the final to Shane Strickland, the now Swerve Strickland in AEW. In addition to this, Matt would recently tell Muscle Man Malcolm that he had hopes of working a match with AEW's Kenny Omega at some point, although as we know, the cleaner is now out of action with diverticulitis. This appears to confirm that he could have his eye on joining All Elite Wrestling at some point. out. On top of that, he would reveal his desire to work in Japan, something we could see play out in the coming months. And we do know that New Japan Pro-Wrestling tried to sign Riddle prior to his signing with WWE. But now that we know what the future holds for Matt Riddle, what do you think the next move for the likes of Dolph Ziggler and Mustafa Ali will be? Let me know in the comments down below. And before you go, make sure you check out every WWE and AEW contract that expires in 2024.